Hey, do you know what your dog is trying to tell you? Sometimes they don't want to talk to strangers, just like you. And that's okay. You should respect their feelings and let them choose who they want to be friends with. For example, imagine you're at a party and you see someone you really like. You want to go over and say hi, right? Well, your dog does the same thing. They'll walk up to them with a happy tail and a smile. They'll sniff them and maybe play with them. They'll have a good time and make a new buddy. But what if you see someone you don't like at the party? Someone who makes you feel uncomfortable or scared. You don't want to talk to them, do you? You want to stay away from them, right? Well, your dog does the same thing. They'll avoid them, show signs of stress or fear, and maybe growl or bark. They'll feel threatened and unhappy. So, don't force your dog to do something they don't want to do. Let your dog do the work. Let them decide who they want to meet and how they want to meet them. That way, you'll both have a better time. Number 2, hey, do you know what your dog needs? They need a routine, just like you. They like to know what's going on and when. When you change their schedule, you make them feel nervous and confused. Let me give you some examples of how you might be doing this. You usually take your dog out and feed them at the same time every day, but then your work changes and you start doing it at different times or not at all. Your dog doesn't know when they'll get to go outside or eat, and they get hungry and restless. You usually go to bed at the same time every night, but sometimes you stay up late watching TV or playing games, and you keep your dog awake with the noise and the light. You usually have a place for your dog to sleep, but sometimes you move their bed or crate to another room, or you let them sleep on the couch or your bed, and then you kick them off the next day. These changes might not seem like a big deal to you, but they can make your dog feel very unhappy and stressed. They can make your dog act out and do things they shouldn't, like barking, chewing, or peeing in the house. The solution: stick to a routine as much as you can. Try to feed your dog, walk your dog, and put your dog to bed at the same time every day. If you have to change your schedule, do it slowly and let your dog know what's happening. You'll make your dog feel more comfortable and calm. Number 3, hey, do you know what your dog needs? They need some grooming, just like you. They need their nails, teeth, and coat to be clean and healthy. When you ignore these things, you make your dog feel pain or sickness. But you don't have to be afraid or lazy. You can do it easily and quickly. For example, imagine your nails are too long and they hurt your fingers. You want to cut them, right? Well, your dog does too. They need their nails to be trimmed regularly, or they can get injured or infected. But you don't have to worry about hurting them. You can use a nail clipper or a grinder, and be careful not to cut the quick. You can also reward your dog with treats and praise. But what about your teeth? You brush them every day, right? Well, your dog does too. They need their teeth to be brushed regularly, or they can get plaque and bad breath. But you don't have to make a mess or a fuss. You can use a toothbrush and toothpaste made for dogs and gently brush their teeth and gums. You can also give your dog dental chews and toys. And what about your coat? You wash it and comb it, right? Well, your dog does too. They need their coat to be brushed and bathed regularly, or they can get matted and dirty. But you don't have to spend a lot of time or trouble. You can use a brush and a comb to gently remove any tangles and loose hair. You can also use a shampoo and conditioner made for dogs, wash their coat, and rinse it well. These things might seem like a lot of work, but they can make a big difference for your dog's well-being and happiness. Don't skip on your dog's grooming needs. Don't treat it as a chore or a burden. Treat it as a way to show your love and care. Number 4, hey, do you know what your dog needs? They need a clean and safe environment, just like you. They need the floors, furniture, and surfaces to be free of harmful chemicals and scents. When you use these things, you make your dog feel sick or hurt, but you don't have to do that. You can use natural and gentle products instead. For example, imagine you clean the floors with strong chemicals and they smell really bad. You don't like it, right? Well, your dog hates it even more. They have a much better sense of smell than you, and they're always sniffing the floor and licking their paws. You're exposing them to toxic fumes, and they can get respiratory problems or skin irritation. But what about the furniture and carpets? You spray them with artificial scents and they smell really strong. You think it's nice, right? Well, your dog thinks it's awful. They have a much more important sense of smell than you, and they use it to communicate and explore the world. You're overwhelming their olfactory system, and they can get headaches or nausea. And what about the bathroom and kitchen? You use bleach or ammonia to disinfect them, and they smell really dangerous. You think it's safe, right? Well, your dog thinks it's risky. They have a much more curious sense of smell than you, and they might try to taste or smell the products you use. You're endangering their health, and they can get burns or poisoning. These things might seem like a good idea to you, but they can make a big difference for your dog's well-being and happiness. Don't use harmful chemicals and scents in your home. Don't treat it as a normal or necessary thing. Treat it as a way to protect your dog and yourself. Number 5. Hey, do you know what your dog needs? They need some protection from fleas and ticks, just like you. They need you to give them the right products and treatments to keep them safe and healthy. When you don't do that, you make your dog feel itchy, sick, or worse. But you don't have to worry. You can do it easily and cheaply. For example, imagine you don't give your dog any flea or tick prevention treatments, and you think they're fine. You don't think it's a big deal, right? Well, your dog thinks it's a nightmare. They have these tiny bugs biting them and sucking their blood. They can get skin problems, allergies, anemia, or infections. They can also get diseases like Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, or heartworm disease. But what if you give your dog the wrong type or dose of flea or tick prevention treatments, and you think they're all the same? You think it's okay, right? Well, your dog thinks it's a mistake. They have different products with different ingredients, dosages, and durations. You need to talk to your vet and follow the instructions carefully. You also need to check your dog regularly for any signs of fleas or ticks. Fleas and ticks are not something to ignore or skimp on. They can cause a lot of trouble and pain for your dog. Treat them with the best products and methods available. Number 6. You allow your dog to jump on guests sometimes, but scold them at other times for the same behavior, leaving your dog confused about what is acceptable and what isn't. You don't realize that your dog doesn't understand the difference between when it's okay and when it's not. You need to be clear and consistent with your rules and expectations. You use different words or gestures for the same command, leaving your dog confused about what you want them to do. You don't realize that your dog doesn't speak your language and relies on your cues and signals. You need to use the same word and gesture for each command and repeat them until your dog learns them. You reward or punish your dog randomly or inconsistently, leaving your dog confused about what they did right or wrong. You don't realize that your dog needs feedback and reinforcement to learn and improve. You need to reward your dog immediately and generously when they do something good and correct your dog calmly and firmly when they do something bad. These mistakes might seem harmless to you, but they can have a big impact on your dog's well-being and happiness. They can make your dog feel confused and unhappy. They can affect your dog's behavior and learning. Number 7. You switch your dog's food suddenly, causing stomach upset and digestive issues, leading to discomfort and potentially affecting their overall health. You don't realize that your dog's digestive system is sensitive and needs time to adjust to new foods. You need to transition your dog's food gradually and carefully. You feed your dog human food, thinking that they'll enjoy it as much as you do, but you're also exposing them to ingredients that might be harmful or toxic for them. You don't realize that some human foods, such as chocolate, grapes, onions, or garlic, can cause serious problems for your dog. You need to avoid feeding your dog human food and stick to dog food or treats that are safe and nutritious for them. You give your dog too much food, thinking that they're hungry or deserve a reward, but you're also making them overweight or obese. You don't realize that your dog's calorie needs are different from yours and depend on their size, age, and activity level. You need to measure your dog's food and follow the feeding guidelines on the package or from your vet. They can affect your dog's appetite and energy. Number 8. You might think that your dog is fine with just lying around the house, but you're also depriving them of their natural instincts. Here are some examples of how you might be doing this. Your dog's need to chew isn't fulfilled, so they resort to chewing household items like shoes or furniture, seeking an outlet for their natural behavior. You don't realize that your dog needs to chew to keep their teeth and gums healthy and to relieve stress and boredom. You need to provide them with appropriate toys or bones that they can chew safely and happily. Your dog's need to run isn't fulfilled, so they resort to chasing the cat or the mailman, seeking an exercise for their energetic body. You don't realize that your dog needs to run to burn off their excess energy and to stay fit and healthy. You need to provide them with activities that make them run, such as by playing fetch, tug, or frisbee with them, or by enrolling them in a dog sport like agility or flyball. Number 9. Punishing their dog without guidance. You might think that you're teaching your dog a lesson, but you're also hurting your dog's feelings and trust. Your dog barks at the doorbell and you yell at them to stop, causing fear and confusion rather than teaching them how to behave calmly. You don't realize that your dog is trying to alert you or protect you from a potential threat. You need to teach them a cue to stop barking and praise them when they do it. These mistakes might seem harmless to you, but they can have a big impact on your dog's well-being and happiness. They can make your dog feel scared and unhappy. They can damage your relationship and bond with your dog. Number 10. Expecting their dog to be like their previous dog. You might think that you're honoring your old dog's memory, but you're also ignoring your new dog's individuality. Here are some examples of how you might be doing this. You expect your new dog to behave exactly like your previous dog. overlooking their unique personality and temperament, which leads to misunderstandings and unmet expectations. You don't realize that your new dog has their own likes, dislikes, strengths, and weaknesses. You need to learn about your new dog's traits and preferences and adjust your training and care accordingly. These mistakes might seem harmless to you, but they can have a big impact on your dog's well-being and happiness. They can make your dog feel sad and unhappy. Don't expect your dog to be like your previous dog. Don't compare your dog to your previous dog.